Urgent crypto news. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. We're keep technical analysis short and sweet. We're going to try and bust through a bunch of these real quick today because I don't want to keep doing these videos for very long. So Bitcoin had that major push down. Everybody was freaking out. It pushed the rest of the market down 10, 20% on some coins and then had instant rejection, or I guess it would be considered support, push back up over that downward trend line, and now we are getting a little bit more of a blue candle. Main thing here is looking at this volume. The volume picked up immensely right here on this one day for Bitcoin. And if you compare it to these ghost candles I have placed right here, we can see it's forming exactly almost identical to what we were expecting for Bitcoin to be doing. And we are waiting to get that push up to 144, potentially a little bit higher. Moving right on over to DNT. If you guys didn't get in on this, whenever I had explained, we crossed over this black downward trend line. We had our entry when it held support on this upward trend line and the downward trend line, and that was around 0.246. And a couple days later, we had a 24% increase, I believe. I believe it could have been a little bit more. 76% increase and then immediate rejection, and we are currently at 43% increase. In one day, I believe it's up around 24%. However, also keep in mind, look at this volume. The volume is picking up immensely. We just need a lot more people buying and selling, and we'll start seeing this. If this pushes up to get another green high volume candle, we can expect that this will launch off. So if you have not entered in DNT, it's not financial advice. It is trying to hold above this blue 200 EMA that's coming in here on the daily. And if we can hold and see this push up a little bit more, DNT has a very, very long way to go. We can see last time I predicted when it broke the downward trend line, it had some pops up and down, some consolidation. I expected us to hit here at 0.0572. We actually hit all the way up at almost 19.5 cents. So my prediction was correct, but incorrect at the same time, as we just flew off the handle here in this one candle stick. So it's not a bad idea to enter this because we have an all-time high of 25.93. We are currently at 3 cents. DNT is not something you should be stacking a massive bag of, but it's definitely something to stack up a bag of, and it is not financial advice. Moving over to QNT, I haven't looked at these charts, so you guys are getting the words as soon as I see the chart. We broke the downward trend line, pushed up, had that rejection. This is where everybody's freaking out when we hit the $88 mark, and we held support on the downward trend line, built an upward trend line, and we pushed back up to that high where a lot of people were probably stacking a little bit more of their bag before immediate rejection because we were pushing really far away from the 200 EMA very quickly, and now we are getting support off of this black upward trend line. We want to see this hold. If it does not hold, we could expect the next support to be right here where the 200 EMA is starting to fill out on this black upward trend line, potentially around 106. However, with Bitcoin pushing up, we can expect this to be pushing up towards the 150, 171, and beyond. The 618 is all the way up here at $281. So that is well over double money, but there are other coins that can get you more money in the long run. I personally have a bigger bag of QNT because I believe in the project, and I believe the all-time high is going to be around over 1,000, potentially 1,500 from where we are currently at. So it's not a bad idea to stack QNT for swing trade. I expect to get quite a couple thousand off of this push. $100 turning into 1,000 is not a bad bet if you are looking to enter into the crypto market. Moving on over to BNT, don't get it confused with DNT, but look at this perfect inverse head and shoulders forming out. You can see these green triangles, it's filling out the right shoulder. I have a bunch of different trend lines here. We have the downward channel, it broke out of the downward channel and then started building some support. This upward trend line starting from the bottom where we had an entry at 36.26. It has been pushing upwards for the past couple weeks. So we are currently at around 113% increase from our entry. I did not, actually, I believe I had to sell right around here, around 75, and a re-entry once we got around the 200 EMA and held support right here in this exact point, around 56 cents. And from that 56 cents, we are currently up another 37%. With Bitcoin starting to push up, we can expect BNT to start pushing up as well. And like I keep saying in all my other videos, it has an absolute very long way to go. I believe all the way up at $20. So for your 77-cent investment, if it's reaching its all-time high, which typically altcoins do reach their all-time high very, very quickly, you can expect $20 for every 77 cents. If not, a minimum at least half that at $10. And the 618 on just this retracement, not the actual all-time high, is about here, $5.94 for a 77-cent investment. The main thing we want to see is higher volume. The volume is very low. However, it is increasing in price. It's holding the trend lines very nicely. Once we get over this dotted red line around the 80 cents, we can expect it to start pushing up here to the 96 cents and maybe a little bit of consolidation once that breaks, pushing on up to the next fib, which is around here, around the $1.35. Moving on over to Doge. Doge, if you missed your entry at 16 cents, almost 17 cents, you had the opportunity to enter at 21 cents. From 21 cents, we pushed almost to 29 and came back down right around 22. Got that support, and keep in mind, look at the volume picking up exponentially, and all we need is a little push and we'll be hitting that 29 cents again. And then moving on up to, let's get rid of this, put in a new fib starting from this point down. 618 being 34 cents from 23 cents. Not a bad gain on a meme coin. I believe Elon Musk is going to be accepting this for Tesla payments, and it would be a 46% increase just to the 618. Next stop 73. Next stop 100% increase, and when we finish out that 100% increase, it is a cup and handle, and the sky is the limit once we break that 48-cent mark. Moving on over to GRT. Jesus Christ, there's so many of these. GRT, we had our entry once we held support on this black upward trend line. I believe a little bit later right here, around 7, roughly 8 cents. And we had our sell right whenever it hit that 200 EMA as it got rejected. And now we are just trying to pinch up over that 200 EMA. Once that breaks and holds, we can expect this to start pushing up. The 618 again is right here at 129% increase. Most likely we're going to get a little bit of resistance and rejection off this black downward trend line and then test it as support before ultimately pushing up. 230% would be the next move for GRT. But just like the other coins we've been talking about, it has a very long way to go, all the way up at $3.49 from a 10-cent investment. Definitely don't stack a massive bag, but GRT is looking better and better as the days go on. And then we're going to move on over to XYO. We'll come back to XLM, XCN, and XRP. XYO doing its long play out move. Definitely have time to enter into this one, but you can see clearly on this candle, we had a major push up as soon as it held support off of this area, which is the fair value gap right here around 0.008. We are holding a little bit higher around 0.01062. So you could expect it to test this downward trend line right here on this channel. See these two black downward trend lines? You can see it potentially testing this a little bit more and getting support off of this black upward trend line. However, we are underneath the 200 EMA. The volume isn't stating much, but the RSI is right around the 50 on the daily. With Bitcoin starting to push up, we can expect the rest of the market to start pushing up with it. Bringing in Spell, a meme token as well. Inverse head and shoulders still trying to play out. If we're looking back here with the inverse head and shoulders, not the best inverse head and shoulders, but we see that once we pushed up over that 200 EMA and held as support, it had that major pump. So here we are underneath the 200 EMA. Once we get up over that 200 EMA, we can expect a major pump. Again, Spell is a meme token. Don't stack a huge bag, but it does have some nice potential to be going all the way up to here, 0.003 cents, 0.005, and beyond. Just looking at this waterfall tanking the entire coin, the all-time high being up here at 0.27 cents. Dropping a zero is pretty massive for any coin, so just keeping that in mind. It is a meme coin. Moving, I did compound, torn, and the other one, so let's get to the good stuff. XRP. Told you to stack your bag at 50 cents. Told you to stack your bag at $2.33. Told you to stack your bag at $2.65. And if you did, you are up very nicely on XRP. Once we broke that 2.64 and held as support, we had this nice bull pendant. We held above the bull pendant, pushed up to the all-time high. Did not hold that, had a little rejection. Some people were dumping some coins. And then we got support right in the center of that CM guppy to bring the RSI back into the market, closer to the 50% mark, so we can get a healthier market. Volume, let's check out volume. It's picking up a little bit. That just goes along with what Bitcoin is doing, but we can expect this to be holding this trend line and the 200 EMA to getting a lot tighter. And when you zoom in and you look at this area, this is on the daily. When we look at this, say the 4 hour, this is kind of what we're looking at to decide if we want to get in or stay out. We wanted to hold above the $3.4 mark for XRP. It had the consolidation, got some rejection. We needed to break the 3.67. That did not happen. And then once I had this upward trend line, when it broke that upward trend line, everybody else was seeing the same thing, and they started dumping their bag. If not, the Ripple company, I believe, sold like a couple $1 million worth of XRP, and it broke underneath that trend line. Tried making another one just out of the air. This trend line is irrelevant. So we broke this upward trend line, broke the 3.4, and then dropped that 10%. However, we are getting support off of this black trend line right here. And we need to see this hold support. The 200 EMA is nice and close for this to start pushing upwards to break back over that 3.4, break over this black downward trend line, and the all-time high at 3.6. And the next stop is 4 to 5 to 7 to 12 to $25 for XRP. Before we start getting a sell-off and trying to get that 200 EMA closer. And then by 2030, they say $10,000 per XRP. It's not invalid advice, because we've seen Bitcoin go from $139 to $17,000. And XRP being the centralized currency, it has major potential to be hitting that area around $10,000. However, in this next year or two, around 2026, we can expect maybe the high being around $12, $25 before getting a blow off and start pushing back down. Stack your bag of XRP. It's never too late. You won't regret buying at 310, 316, 360, as we are most likely not coming back down to the 2.33 area, and we are going to be holding support above that. Moving on over to XLM, follows XRP's pattern. Major push up, rejection, exactly like XRP, broke that upward trend line, had the sell off, held above the CM guppy right on the green, meeting the blue. Volume is decreasing, price is trying to increase along with Bitcoin, and we just want to see this start curving up a little bit with Bitcoin starting to form its bullish movement. The upward trend line, something like this, you can make it a little bit steeper starting from this point like this. And if we can hold that line, we'd like to see this start pushing up towards the 5.9 cent area. But XLM has very good utility. It is used within XRP. If you're stacking XRP, you should be stacking XLM. And that's it for that. But moving on over to XCN, everybody's favorite, the reason people watch this channel. Major cup and handle forming, holding above the 200 EMA. We saw last time it held above the 200 EMA, we had that major 2,000% increase. If you missed that, you are not too late. You can re-enter while we are still above the 200 EMA. It's forming a nice W here, getting higher lows, and we can expect an all-time high of 18 cents, currently at 0.015 cents. Not a whole bunch to say about XCN except stack your bag before it's too late, as this is going to start flying with the rest of the market whenever Bitcoin starts going up. The RSI on the daily is starting to get a little oversold, not heavily oversold, but we want to start seeing this yellow come back down, purple crossing over the yellow, and then we'll see all hell break loose for XCN, filling out the cup and handle pattern, and cup and handle patterns have high potential to just skyrocket the token. And right here is kind of where we're expecting the 17 cent mark at 0.015, roughly here to here is around 1,000% increase. So if you missed the 2,000% increase, the other 300% increase it had prior to the 2,000, you are not too late to get that 10x coin in. A little bit of money goes a long way. XCN's definitely a good bet. Same with XRP, XYO, XMLM. All the X's are very good bets. And so that's kind of the overview for today. We're holding above the 200 EMA. And I have all the references if you want to trade coins on MEXC, Coinbase, KuCoin, Rollercoin, all that good stuff in the description below. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you guys on the next one.